Great. Thanks everyone for joining in again. So today's talk is basically on, building AI SaaS in the generative AI era. And as you are participating in an hackathon, so the focus is also on building ideas with a small team. So it's going to be a general discussion, high level on the AI SaaS, how to think about ideas, etc. But we'll answer all your questions as well in the very end. So stay tuned. So first of all, who am I? My name is Ramsri, and I am bootstrapping two AI SaaS apps, Question and Super Meme. Question is an AI quiz generator, and Super Meme is AI meme generator. And currently they are at 100K ARR, annual recurring revenue. So approximately 83 lakhs in annual revenue. Question is solo by me, and Super Meme is built with two other co-founders. And I also teach courses on large language models, NLP, AI SaaS on Udemy, and my own website, learnnlp.academy. And one topic that is relevant to today's discussion is that I also work on open source Indic LLMs along with a friend of mine called Raviteja. So both of us work on building Indic open source LLMs, and our work called as Navrasa recently got featured in Google I/O 2024. So in the keynote, our video was presented as well. And this is my Twitter, Ramsri_Gautam, if you want to follow for any updates, etc. So without any further ado, let's get started with the topic. So building a bootstrapped AI micro-SaaS in the generative AI space with no employees. So just on a high level. So what does bootstrap means for those who do not know? So not taking any external investment money and doing completely as self-funded. And micro SaaS is basically just a startup or a SaaS business, but at a very smaller scale, where you build software that operates in a particular niche and typically run by a small team or just an individual as well. And you know the term generative AI, that's been around quite a lot. So what does that simply mean? At least for me, how I look at it is AI that can generate or simulate human creativity. So whatever five senses that we have and what we can do, for example, speech, image, by image, I mean art, music, writing, all these things. So generative AI is doing the generation part that we humans do. And notable examples are, as you might have seen, ChatGPT and generative images like Midjourney, DALI, and speech, generative speech like 11 Labs, etc. So let's get to the topic of how do you pick AI SaaS ideas, or in general for your scope, how do you pick on a problem statement that you can build for this hackathon, etc. So two philosophies, how I look at it, and everything that I'm going to talk today is from my perspective. And one of the most fundamental thing that I think is, what are currently done manually, the tasks that are paid for, that could be significantly enhanced uh, with existing AI that came up, or imminent AI. By imminent, I mean AI could at least in the next 1 to 2 years catch up to that. So we built the base framework already, so that as AI is improving, our models and our value proposition also improves. So why do I focus on this is, when we are doing this as a small team, our goal is not to teach a new payment behavior, or money extraction behavior from the end user. That behavior of what they pay for, the problem that they pay for, should already be established. and we come in and 10x that value. Either we increase the speed significantly or we make it 10x cheaper or 100x cheaper with AI. So that's how I look at it. Look for tasks that AI can provide significant, almost 100x value, but the task, the payment loop should already be established. That's one. Second part is the most interesting part for me, because I believe an AI SaaS or anything big is all about timing the market. It is not, it doesn't matter whether you had that idea 10 or 20 years ago, where the technology was not there, the infrastructure was not there to support it. So it only matters if you have a relevant idea at this point in time with the current technology, and that is all that matters. So always, whenever a new AI model gets released, either open source or a new feature is announced by OpenAI or Anthropic, all these AI players, I always bring in this question in my mind. What new business use case can this new technology unlock that was not possible before, or it was complex before, or too costly before? Now, this new technology, AI technology, should solve that business use case, unlock that 100x cheaper value, or 100x faster value, or 100x less complex value. And that is one more significant thing, where you're mapping existing AI technology that's coming up to deliver massive value to business use cases. And the other thing is, if you're solving your own problem, you are your first customer, you are your first feedback loop, that is perfect. So you become the booster one for your core AI SaaS idea. And booster two is basically you have existing domain expertise. For example, you are, let's say your father or brother comes from construction business, or your father has a school where he or she runs the school or is a principal. Then you have existing domain expertise at Access vertical, business vertical at Access, so that you can easily iterate on the problems and also establish your credibility in the domain, where you can easily work with the customers in the domain as well as iterate on the first features to build. So on a high level, think about these things: what manual tasks could be automated, enhanced significantly with AI, as well as what is the new AI, what is this new AI model or AI technology, what can it do in the current stack that couldn't be done previously, or it was costly before. These are the two things that I always think. Then just a quick intro about my AI SaaS, Question.ai, where we'll see how I map this problem, this framework onto this. So simply put, Question.ai takes in some text like this and generate quizzes like multiple choice questions, true or false, fill in the blanks, all these kind of quizzes. So especially for teachers. So as you can see, you can put some text and get some quizzes with correct answer highlighted and also explanation. And why did I just show that is, I want you to map this question to the framework that I told you, because now once you master the framework, you are going to look at every problem the same way. So let's go 4 years back, 2020. What are some manual tasks? So for example, creating quizzes, all the big publishers like McGraw-Hill, Pearson, tutoring chains, edtech companies like Unacademy, Byju's, everyone, they create quizzes manually by reading the content and then creating. So what are some manual tasks? Manual task is quiz creation, currently paid for, because big publishers outsource this quiz creation process to companies called as item banks, or tutoring chains hire staff to create quizzes. So that task is already paid for. Enhanced or substituted, That's where Question comes in, or any other tool, AI enhanced tool comes in, where now with one click you can generate 150 or 200 quizzes from 300 or 400 pages of content, because now AI can take in long context. For example, Gemini or even OpenAI has context above 100,000 tokens, or even 100K words, and you can use frameworks like LangChain, etc., to split up the text into smaller chunks. So at the end of the day, what used to be very, very manual task of reading and going through a lot of stuff, you can quickly in one click generate 150 questions. So 100x enhancement with AI. And the other thing is with existing or imminent state of the art generative AI. Back in 2020, this was not possible. I used to train custom models, take my own datasets, custom models, train models like T5 transformers for question generation, etc. But I was aware that AI would catch up to that. So in 2020, that meant I create my own datasets, I train my own models, I host the models myself. But I told about imminent AI, where you need to project where the AI is going. And in 2024, this means I simply use OpenAI's GPT-4o API or Anthropic's Claude 3 API, and I get the job done. But I need to create the framework ahead of time to stay ahead of the game. And let's go on to the next slide. Oops. Yeah. And a lot of you might be wondering, so how do I build this? What's the best tech stack for me? So in a simplistic sense, if you're just like a data scientist, etc., when you're iterating for the first time, use tools like Streamlit or Gradio, where you have a basic UI, a text box, a submit button, so that you can do rapid iterations. But any production use case, you need to go beyond that. And my suggestion, the best suggestion is basically use frameworks like Next.js, where they're evolved frameworks based on React. And the other thing is that Next.js is a full stack framework. You don't need to have a separate framework for front end and a separate backend framework like Node.js. You can couple both of those and use single framework like Next.js, use a backend like Supabase, and deploy the whole thing on Vercel and do quick iteration. And why do I suggest this framework in 2024 is, although you are not a JavaScript developer or full stack developer, etc., you can know the basics and you can use ChatGPT or integrated development environment, just like Visual Studio Code. There is cursor.com, where it's an integrated IDE. You just prompt with text. I want to have this button with a submit text box with a submit button underneath. And then I want a backend with Next.js API calling OpenAI, etc. And it will create both the files for you. You just do rapid iterations. So in 2024, you code very, very little. You just instruct the AI. It gives you the code. And with that code, you test it out to see if it works. If not, you iterate. Whatever error you get, you again paste it and iterate. So in 2024, programming is radically different, where you do rapid iteration with just prompts, and AI is the exoskeleton that does the heavy lifting. So even if you come from any programming background, irrespective of the programming language, I suggest this tech stack because you can iterate fast, you can build state-of-the-art features, streaming UI, and all those things. But in case if you don't come from a programming background, then they are visual builders or no code builders. For example, vweb.io plus Supabase backend is one that I suggest. And if not, if you want to completely go full no code stack, you can use bubble.io. So one thing is that I started in 2020. First, I used to build APIs. Then I built a basic, with no code tools, bubble.io itself, I launched the app. And only in the last 1 year, I learned this tech stack and upgraded my app completely to that. And let's move on. So, although this is a bit far-fetched for you because you're doing a hackathon, I just want to quickly cover how does launching an app once you have built an MVP, minimum viable product, how does the launch look like or marketing look like? First things first, I would say you announce on your social media. You build something, go and put it out on LinkedIn, Twitter, or even as your WhatsApp status that I have launched this app. And whatever people, maybe 10, 15, 20, your friends might try, ask them for feedback. That is the first iteration loop of launch. Launch without any fanfare so that you don't go viral. You are launching just to your friends and collecting feedback. Second thing is once you are done with that iteration, go and launch on platforms with distribution. That means Product Hunt, Reddit, Hacker News, test your luck. Then the third one is building strength for your app. If you do not have marketing capability, go and partner with people who come from marketing expertise, either as co-founders or things like that. And similarly, if you come from pure marketing background, you build something with no code. Now you go and find a tech co-founder. And fourth step is outreach, where now you have a baseline platform that is stable. You go and do outreach, that is writing emails to people or DMing them on LinkedIn or Twitter. But just be mindful and see that if that is relevant to them, then only you do the outreach. Or sometimes there are discussions happening online. For example, people say that I want to quickly edit my YouTube videos, but I don't seem to find anything. They just post that on Twitter or LinkedIn, etc. Then you just plug in your app, give them some free credits, and tell them that happy to help, iterate, build whatever you want. And the fifth strategy is basically SEO, which is writing blogs or making videos. Essentially, it is long-term discoverability on the internet because social media is short-lived. You post today, it stays for 3 or 4 days on the timeline and it goes away. So you need to have a long-term discoverability on the internet strategy, and SEO and long-form content, YouTube videos are the same. And next is little bit into the growth strategies. Basically, you do paid marketing running ads or you do influencer marketing. And then the last part is using platforms as growth engines. You build something viral or something interesting, then the platforms that you built it on, whether it is LangChain or whether it is Supabase or Versal, you reach out to them and they put you in their showcase as well. So you get their distribution as well. That's one. And we'll quickly touch upon, what are the things to master to build and maintain a SaaS as well. One thing is authentication. You need people to log in with the user email or things like that. And I would always recommend people to start with just Google. And second thing is database and storage, because an app is not just input output. You need to rather store the outputs and the user's data when they log in next time, a month later, etc. Third is payments, very crucial. You need to make money with your app. So you need to understand the whole flow of one-time payments, subscription payments, and multiple payments plans, cancellations, refund, fraud, all these things. Stripe is the best, I would say. Start with that if you can. Fourth is API. Anything robust, you need to build API with rate limiting. Otherwise, you get abuse where people can just sign up and run multiple times and get you $1,000 OpenAI bill. So to avoid that, you need to master a little bit about rate limiting, authenticated access to APIs, etc. Fifth is scalability and performance optimization. So how do you grow and scale your app? these are not very crucial for you at this stage of building, so I'm just skipping them ahead. The most interesting things for you are ahead, where I give you some ideas that you can play around with even. And this is about, building, how the philosophy of building apps. One is, if you're a small team, you should pick the right game to play. That means playing tennis or badminton in one niche. That means picking apps like that, not picking up football or cricket where you need to manage multiple players. So you philosophically pick a niche and an app where 2 or 3 people can serve best. Second is B2B versus B2C. B2B needs quite a lot of confidence for people to take a bet on you, and longer sales cycle. So it's easier as a small team to first launch with B2C and then gain traction and go to B2B. Then tech play, like I mentioned, heavily used tools like cursor.com or ChatGPT, where you 10x your coding ability and ship features at lightning speed, where AI is an exoskeleton that does most of the job. And just a quick note, always build in public and build your personal brand as well, because ideas fail all the time. So if you have worked hard, let people at least recognize that hard work, and let that hard work get carried over to the next product that you launch, because people are aware of how hard you work, etc., how frequently you show up, so how diligent you are, etc. Okay, now let's come to the most interesting topics for you, even as a hackathon or AI SaaS builders. So how do you build moat? When I mean moat, something that cannot be replicated easily, where something has some strength, where you can survive for some time. So level one is basically, you have an API and you build a wrapper around it. And that wrapper is also single modality. For example, question. Question is just a text to text wrapper around OpenAI. So that is level one, where you don't have that much moat. Then second is you chain multiple wrappers across different modalities. What I mean by that is, for example, super meme, you have text combined with images. So now you have you chain multiple wrappers where you have a text layer, then a image layer. And for example, if you're building something like a AI podcast generator, then you have the voice layer as well, right? So basically you chain multiple APIs to solve a complicated problem, or to solve a problem in multiple modalities across text, image, etc. So that is level 2 of building moat. Now, level 3 is, go ahead. I think Ahmad or somebody raised the hand, right? Please go ahead. Uh, Not sure if as well, if it's easier. Yeah, anyways, we'll continue, and we'll finish it off fast, and then we'll have all the time to answer questions. So don't worry, even if something is not answered. So third layer is basically you add domain expertise. So question is basically a text to text wrapper. Why it survives and makes some money, at least $4,000 monthly revenue, is because of you make vertical solutioning. That means you pick a domain. Question is for edtech. So you add edtech focused solutions, that is, you provide input layers across, inputting PDF and all those things, and output. You can export the quizzes into 20 different multiple formats suitable for 20 different learning management systems or tutoring formats, all these, etc. So adding domain expertise, that is adding vertical solutioning to the AI wrapper, is level 3. Level 4 is basically you add highly complex technical stuff to the AI wrapper. For example, you are building a complicated automated video editing tool. So apart from you have the text, and then you identify where video needs to be edited and all those things. Apart from that, you build a complex automated video editing tool with things like remotion, etc., where you know very good about even ffmpeg and all those to stitch videos, add effects, add audio with video, or add image components to video, all these things. And the other thing is basically cross-domain technical integration. Instead of just building AI wrappers, now you add cross-domains where you build something across technologies like an AR, VR combined with AI, etc. And fifth layer, I think, which has the highest moat as of today, would be adding AI agentic workflows. So simply put, so far, all the AI SaaS that we have been building is trying to augment or, you know, accomplish what a single human can do. A single human skilled, single skilled human, whatever he or she can do, you are trying to do that with AI SaaS. For example, a single human can read the content and create quizzes. You are trying to emulate them. A single human can edit the video. Now you are trying to do the same with AI SaaS, where an editor, uh, AI SaaS comes in the place of a video editor. A single human, for example, video.ai is sponsoring your hackathon. A single human can look at the whole video, identify the bits that are good, and convert them into 1 or 2 minute YouTube shorts or Instagram shorts. So video, long form video to quick shorts. That's what a single human used to do. And all the prior work that we did is in that realm. But now today with AI agentic workflow, we are trying to do what a highly skilled team of human experts can do. We are trying to do that with a single AI SaaS. So let's understand again. If you really want to aim big, I would say today focus on AI agents, and it might, for simplicity, prior to 2024 and all the SaaS apps built before AI agents, AI SaaS aimed to emulate a single human expert. Now, after multi-agents, today, AI SAS aims to emulate the capabilities of a team of human experts. That means there is one expert who is good at blog writing, one expert who is good at grammar correction, one expert who is good at search engine optimization of that blog. Now, today with AI agentic workflow, you can write a blog that is grammar corrected, that is well written, with high converting copy, that is SEO optimized for search engines and discoverability. You can rank well on the internet, and that is curated again in the same style of your previous blogs. You can have 4 of these experts working as multi-agents and write a single blog that could be, let's say, it could take 1 week or 2 week for 4 individual technical capable humans to write. That you can write today with multi-agents. That is what it can do. So think of this paradigm shift where now you are trying to emulate the capabilities of a team of human experts with AI agents. So you might have some question. Okay, great. Why don't you give us some ideas so that we have some base to start with? And that's what I'm doing now. So first thing is, pick of emerging AI trends, whether it is multimodal AI, because 1 year back, ChatGPT was text input and text output. But as of today, with the recent demos, it can take text or images or audio or video, and it can potentially output soon in the future in again all these modalities, text or image or audio or video. Now think about your multimodal input and multimodal output kind of scenario and build in that. Then you have AI agents. So identify gaps in domains that could be solved with multimodal and AI agents and proceed ahead. And I'm just going to show you few ideas. For example, StorySketch.ai, it's a hypothetical startup that I created. Basically, now AI can generate one image, and there is new research coming up and few startups working in this area. If you have a story, usually you don't need one image of, let's say, two pigs sitting and crying, right? The story continues and you need to have the same pig and some other element, same character in multiple scenarios. So consistent illustrations. And this is great for, stories, long form stories or YouTube videos, games and all these things. And OpenAI has demonstrated where now given a long story, you can write concise snippets of illustration, the text, and you can start with the base image, pass that image for the next generation, pass that image for the next generation so that consistency is valid. So as of today, you can think about enabling these ideas even. And one more idea is fillanything.ai. For example, whether you are applying for a job, you are trying to fill a form where they are asking you to write cover letter every single time, every single company. Or sometimes you are a startup and applying for the startup accelerator funds. Every time they ask you to fill something. So instead, let's say you have a long form paragraph about your startup, or you just upload your resume and automatically anywhere you build a Chrome extension which can fill in the question anywhere. So what are the biggest technologies that you worked on? Automatically, since it has your resume, it can auto suggest all the text that you need to fill in any form. And few more ideas for you. With agentic workflows, you can think about planning as well. So for example, auto editing YouTube shorts. Now I'm going to combine multimodality with agentic workflow. Now what can you do with it? You can just give the YouTube video unedited to YouTube short or something like that, unedited to these APIs. And you can pass them in. Yeah. So we have few questions, but I will get to that. We are almost at the end of the talk. So just a few more slides. So basically you can give the whole video, and since it is a multimodal AI, it can take in the video directly. It can output at what timestamp where you need to edit. That means add some transitions or add some motion graphics where some elements come in or the background changes, etc. So it can suggest that automatically. Then using those suggestions with AI agents, you can do careful planning of what items you need to generate, what uh, you can use AI image models to generate the items that you want to put in the video. For example, a transition or some pop-up comes up, etc. All those elements could be generated. You can do the planning with AI agents. Then finally, you can generate those and stitch the video together. And again, you can pass the video through another quality check AI, which can suggest further changes, etc. That's one. Second is, as you are building with India focused problem solving for India, one interesting thing is story localization or content localization. For example, if you see, there are companies like Pocket FM, etc., that started in India, and Kuku FM. They have their stories that you can read. Now, if they are expanding to Spanish region, or similarly, a company is popular in America and they are expanding it to India, instead of creating content all over from scratch, they can just give their stories or content and ask AI to localize it what do I mean by localization? For example, let's take this simple example. You can see kids YouTube videos made by Coco Milan, right? So for example, if that video is there, the script goes like this. JJ or Jason and Jessica, they are eating bacon and ham for breakfast, something like that. Now, if Coco Milan is launching, let's say Coco Milan Telugu, Tamil or Hindi channels, that James and Jessica and bacon and ham, that story is irrelevant to us. You need to convert it, that is localize it, where you are replacing James and Jessica with Varun and Swati, and you're replacing bacon and ham with dosa and idli, etc. Right? So now Cocomelon can take their original scripts, they can localize with the help of AI. That is changing the context as well as name specific things. Similarly, you can, let's say McDonald's created an ad in US. Now that ad copy or exact ad could be converted, localized to Indian languages or Indian regional context, right? Again, MacBook increases productivity. There is some ad where there are, let's say, American people in it doing some surfing on the beach, etc. Now that might not be relevant to for the local context. So changing that MacBook ad automatically into replacing characters, context, and set up everything with localized AI. You can do that today with. So think about this. You use OpenAI or something to localize the original content script. Now you use DALI or something to generate relevant images as well. And you create a new video that is localized completely. And other thing to think about is generative AI apps need generative AI UI UX. Why? Since we have streaming components. So instead of waiting for all the 150 quizzes to generate, probably you can keep generating quizzes as it is generating. That's, think about generative AI and generative AI UI UX. Similarly, when show context is clicked, perhaps you can highlight the context from the original story, so that since AI has hallucinations, one can go and check to see, since this is made from this highlighted context, whether this quiz is correct. And like I mentioned, always think about what new business use case can this new AI technology unlock that wasn't possible or complex before. Because there's an AI model called as control net. It can just take the edges and recreate something new. So once that model is released, you need to think about its business use cases. Okay, before the house is actually remodeled, you can actually show how the remodeled house looks like, and you can change the colors, etc. So uh, anyone, when they are going to interior designers, etc., can already use how the final output looks like and take a informed decision. So you need to think about these ideas ahead of time and implement them. And I'm going to skip over these things because not very relevant for your hackathon settings. But just one word on SEO. Basically, with AI, you can rank little bit easier, because if you type meme generator, then all those companies that existed prior to us come up, and there's no way to beat them out. But when you write a meme generator, we who started in the last 2-3 years come up. So people, their search trends are also changing, where they are traditionally, whatever they were doing, they're trying to add AI. So their search queries are tailored accordingly, and we can rank easily if we do something interesting.